Some might say I'm wearing the Pokemon hat again because it's now the series' lucky hat after what we did to Manchester United in the Community Shield yesterday. If you haven't seen what we did to Manchester United in the Community Shield yesterday, you really need to go and watch that before going any further. Others might say that I'm obviously just still wearing the hat because in reality I'm recording this episode 3 or 4 minutes after that one finished. I'll let you judge if either of those are likely to be true, but regardless of any of that, we now have our first 2 matches of the Premier League season. We've not done a 2-match open before. This could be exciting. Hello and welcome to part 152 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode we have our first 2 Premier League matches of the season, away against West Ham and then at home against Arsenal. Now, since you were last with me, there has been some final transfer business and it's nothing like what you would have been expecting. We'll look at it very quickly. 2 more players have arrived. David Roberts is another James Ball signing, a 17-year-old left back who comes in for £500,000 from Wrexham. I can live with that. And this one signed a Brazilian striker for £8 million. What? You expected me to follow through on any of the things I told you I was going to do? This guy became available, super cheap. Nogueira's going to be out for 8 weeks, so we only actually had who did we have? The Kerr and Jones as fit strikers with Lazic, who proved last year he's not good enough. I was all but decided Lazic was coming out of the Premier League squad anyway. So I thought, you know what, let's bring this guy in. Checo, he can play as an attacking midfielder, he can play as a central midfielder, he can even play on the wing if we get to that point where we need him to do that. Once we've got our other strikers fit again. And in the meantime, he might actually be awesome. So we've got another striker, because you can never have too many strikers in Kev's world. And this is the team we're putting out there for our first Premier League game of the season, away against West Ham. And we've got Vujicic in goal, a back four of Joksimovic, Brodic, Ferguson and Carrascal, with Wanda, Hayes and Twan in midfield and Nuhu in behind Jones and Kerr. I'm not entirely sure which way round I should be playing these two. We're going to go with that one at the moment because it fits them better. But I don't know. Were they better? Was Jones better when he was the other way around before, when he was playing as the advanced forward? Jones is really the man I'm backing long term because he's English and younger and cost me more, whereas Kerr, I was never fully convinced on Kerr when he first signed, but then he scored goals and looked really good early on, but then he really tapered off as the season went on. But then I've given him a 3-week holiday after the Euros. So he should, in theory, be fit and raring to go now, although probably not match fit, which isn't ideal. But then neither is Checo, and we don't have any other strikers who are fit. So Kirk kind of has to play today. Then it's going to be a race, really a race between Kerr, Checo and probably Dennis Jensen to see who gets match fit quicker. Jensen is actually now available to play for the reserves and could be match fit in as little as 3 weeks. He broke his leg 4 months ago and was supposed to be out for 10 months. I don't quite know how he's getting fit as quickly as he's getting. I hope he's not rushing himself. I hope we're not going to get a relapse of the injury. But he seems to be getting fit again remarkably quickly. Wanda with the big ball forward towards Kerr, but it doesn't make it all the way to him. But Hayes collects in midfield and finds Jones, who's just going to run with the ball a little bit and then lose it to a West Ham player. That's what you get for signing a lad who's never really played in the Premier League. And that, I thought, was just flying into the top corner and I was going to have to make an enemy of Jones. Luckily, I haven't had to do that, although neither him or Kerr have played particularly well in that first half. So what I'm going to do for the second half is just swap them over, see what they look like the other way around, while I try and decide on a partnership that might work. Because long term, I think my strike partnership, I'm aiming for Jensen as the guy on support and Jones as the advanced forward, even though he's officially a target man at the moment, but it looks like he'd suit playing as an advanced forward better, in my humble opinion. So that's my long-term thinking. And then obviously we've got to fit Checo in somewhere as well, who again is likely to be the support striker rather than the more advanced striker. In reality, these two are my 2 advanced forwards on the pitch probably. Jones brings the ball down beautifully. Hopefully Kerr is keeping up with him in the middle. Jones squares it. Nuhu's in there. Wanda's there too. Nuhu with a follow-up and it's 1-0. I don't know where Kieran Kerr was in that move. He just doesn't seem to have been anywhere near what was going on. It's Wanda and Nuhu. There, I think, is that Kerr? Just so slow. And then we've got Nuhu. There we've got Wanda. And I guess that's Twan. And that must be Kerr. I don't know why he didn't even make it into the penalty area. He was so slow in that move. Considering Wanda's the one carrying an injury, But I'm not going to complain too much. Nuhu scored again. The man is a ridiculous human being and just scores goals for fun. Right, Kerr is going to come off. We're going to have a first look at Checo, see if he's any good. And I think we should probably also take off Wanda. By the way, Kovacic didn't leave. He decided not to go on loan, which is why I've shuffled around what my squad was going to be. Kovacic was never in my squad for this season, and now he's probably going to play quite a few games because I've kind of shuffled him into the pack. And I have very high hopes for him all of a sudden. I want him to become homegrown. That's the main thing. That was a nice free kick. Vujicic got to question his wall positioning a little bit there because it goes his side of the wall, but then still beats him, and that shouldn't really be something that happens. If it goes his side of the wall, it should be coming straight at him so he's able to save it. So wall positioning there, Vujicic, not good enough. Oliveira sat there on the bench taking notes again. Make sure I position my walls properly, so if I get an opportunity, I don't foul it up like that. Right, Twan is struggling for fitness. We've got Wagner and McAllister on the bench. I'm going to bring McAllister on just because he's more of a central midfielder than Wagner is. We have a lot of very attacking midfield players, which might come back to bite us as the season goes on, because we never did sign that energetic running midfielder I wanted in the last episode. I'm hoping Kovacic becomes that man. If he doesn't, that might be where we really struggle. But Nuhu collects the ball on the edge of the area, floats it in towards Jones, nods it down towards Kovacic, and I don't really know why Jones didn't nod it down to Kerr, who was basically stood next to him, instead of almost clearing it out of the area. But Kovacic probably should have done a little bit better with it anyway. It's been a very even match between us and West Ham. I'm not going to be desperately upset if we end up coming away with a draw here. Media expectations, they're looking for a 14th place finish for us this season. The board are expecting a mid-table finish. I'd be happy. Mid-table, I'd be absolutely fine with that. We're in our... Oh, Nuhu, what a man. Nuhu. What a player. That's... How many goals is that this season now? Has he scored... Is that 4 in 2 games? He's just unstoppable. He is unplayable in the mood he's in at the moment. And it's just carried on from last season. Jones picking up the assist. Nuhu's just brilliant. Just the best in the world at what he does. Enoch Nuhu. What a man. But yeah, our first season in Europe, in the Europa League this year, I would be quite happy with a mid-table finish. We don't need to be getting carried away and pushing for the Champions League. Admittedly, a mid-table finish would result in... we've just got a third. Checo and Jones combining nicely. That's promising for the two new boys. Vujicic would obviously stay if we got into the Champions League. I think that's probably quite unlikely once we get into the Europa League stuff, because I think our squad is probably still too small. Although we've maxed it out with 25 players now, there is some filler in there. Even the likes of Kovacic, probably wouldn't make it into Arsenal or Man United's 25-man squad. He's 18 years old. He'd still be in there under 23s. He'd be out on loan for a few years. But he's in our squad because we haven't got anyone better than him. So I think our squad size will catch up with us as the season goes on. But the more points we can get on the board early on, the better. And that is a very solid win away against West Ham. And now if we can carry that form through into the Arsenal game, then we really might mean business this season. We have a change forced on us for the Arsenal game. Twan, who's on loan from Arsenal, can't play against them, so he's had to drop out of the team. We've replaced him with Jack Naylor, mainly because I want to have a look at him. He might be rubbish. He might actually turn out to be a superstar. He can play roaming playmaker really quite well, which is handy. We've swapped Wanda and Hayes over, just because Hayes has been pushed out to Carolera the last few games anyway. He may as well get used to playing there, especially if Naylor's going to be an option as a roaming playmaker. Hayes really starts to need to be moving over towards the left-hand side of the pitch for us. We've also swapped Kerr and Jones over because they looked better when they were that way round, or at least Jones looked better in that role. Kerr hasn't really arrived yet this season, so I want to play to Jones's strengths. Ideally, I would have brought Checo into the team, but he's picked up an injury and he's going to be out for the next couple of weeks as well, as is Wagner. So although we brought in players to try and avoid this situation, we are slowly finding ourselves getting back into a situation where almost everybody in the squad is selected as part of our matchday squad. How does it come to this? 2 games into the season. This is ridiculous. Right, we want a continuation of the form that we've had against Arsenal, because I want to have to wear this hat forever. If this hat is the key to success, I don't mind wearing a children's hat in all my videos for the rest of my life, if it means we just keep winning games. I It might be like when people don't shave during FA Cup runs. I might not take the hat off until we lose. I thought Jones was going to stick that in the top corner on a minute there, and that would have been ridiculous. This, of course, is our first game at this season's home of St Andrews in Birmingham. We had one season at the Sir Tom Elliott Arena last year. If you didn't watch after the FA Cup final a few days ago, you might have missed that we've moved out of there for another year while it's expanded, because it just wasn't ever big enough for us. So despite the fact we had a couple of seasons at the Brian Clough Arena in Nottingham while the new ground was being built, we've decided not to go back there. Instead, we've moved over to Birmingham for a season, which seems more logical anyway. St Andrews, if it was available when we went to Nottingham, just seems like it would have been a better fit in the first place. I think Nuneaton's a lot closer to Birmingham than it is Nottingham, but then my geography is about as good as my maths, so there's every chance that I'm just wrong. But we're here for a year, and it's a nice big ground, 30,000 capacity, so a little bit bigger than the Brian Clough Arena, which of course then gives us an idea of whether the new Sir Tom Elliott Arena is going to be big enough, because once that's finished, that's going to be just shy of 25,000 capacity. So if we find ourselves filling St Andrews and it's 30,000 capacity, we could end up right back in this situation again where it's not big enough when we move back into it. Right, Jones hasn't had a great game today. We don't have a striker. Of course. Well, those two are just going to have to play on. We can't... I don't want to be messing around playing players out of position this early, although, to be fair, do we just stick Nuhu up there? He's not having the best of games in midfield, and at least it then lets us bring, I guess, McAllister on. My first option would have been Wagner, but if we bring McAllister on, stick Nuhu up front, and then shuffle up the midfield, get Naylor off, get Kovacic on. I don't think Naylor has been very impressive at all, but swap all this lot around and do that. And see if that helps us get the breakthrough against Arsenal. Remember, this is Arsenal. Arsenal are a consistent Champions League team. If we end up getting a 0-0 against them, it's not the end of the world, but it would be nice to get our first victory at our new temporary home. I still haven't seen what the attendance is. I keep waffling over it. Right, who's still not playing great. We still don't have options to bring on for him. What have we got? A lot of fullbacks. Oh my word, we've got 2 centre-backs and 2 fullbacks to come on. Are any of them looking like games? I mean, Carrascal, we'll bring Coupler on for Carrascal. Coupler's still not fully match fit. He had a knock over the summer, which is why he started on the bench. He would ordinarily be our first choice right back, but we'll give him 10 minutes to get back into some kind of fitness again. So we have got 25,000 in attendance against a big team. So I'm guessing the new ground, when it's done, is going to be roughly the right size. That was a terrible pass from Coupler, but he's got away with it there, and it's with Hayes in midfield. We've not really had a highlight-worthy attack in this game. We've had a lot of attacks looking at this, a lot of possession, a lot of shots, but nothing really significant. We've not created a proper chance in the entire game. Vujicic playing as a sweeper keeper there, coming miles out, and Hayes picks it up in midfield, plays it forward towards Nuhu. It makes its way back to Hayes. It's with McAllister. McAllister forward towards Kerr, doesn't get anywhere near him, and now Arsenal have got a chance to grab a late winner, and they are coming at us in waves, and they do exactly that. Any chance that was offside? It felt a little bit offside-y to me. It obviously wasn't. We did our best to keep going for as long as we could, but ultimately, lack of firepower has cost us there. We've ended up with Kerr and Nuhu up front. Nuhu playing out of position. Kerr still not fit, still not back in form. We need the 3 injured strikers we've now got at the club. We need at least one of them to get back fit, to give us an option that lets us get Kerr out of the team. We can't just be relying on Jones as a 21-year-old playing his first season in the Premier League. And we certainly can't rely on Nuhu scoring 2 goals every game like he had in the 2 previous ones. But Wanda intercepts. It's McAllister. Tries to find Kerr. Again, doesn't get through to him. McAllister to Wanda. Tries to find Nuhu. And we've got both Kerr and McAllister chasing down the Arsenal keeper, but not getting there. And we have lost our first game at St Andrews. I would have accepted 3 points from these opening 2 games, as long as we don't end up losing lots of... I guess it means I can take the hat off now, which is nice. You'll never need to see the hat again now. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.